Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? Just doing a quick live about the fight card that we had tonight. It was Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Overall, it was a pretty okay card. Um, I'm just gonna get straight to it. I don't want to really waste no time with it. The first fight, it was Frank Sanchez versus this guy named Aguilar. And all I got to say about that, man, is that Frank Sanchez, I mean, I do see the potential as him uh, for him as a heavyweight. I do see him being able to succeed at heavyweight. I do see him like being able to compete with the top heavyweights, but he's going to need to have a change of trainers for the simple fact that he comes from that Cuban school. And it's like, I'm just being real, like the Canelo training does not really fit to his strength. I'm being honest. Uh, he was doing a lot of dirty things in the fight, and it's like a lot of times he doesn't like to be at the end of his punches either. It seems like sometimes he be smothering his work, and the Cuban school, even if you're a heavyweight, one of the features is that you got to have footwork. You definitely, that's one of the key things about the Cuban school is footwork. And he doesn't utilize that with his style. And so I think me personally, if it was up to me, like he should go with a trainer like Ishmael Salas or something like that. That would probably be a better fit for him because he can utilize his skills. Because there ain't no way that the guy he fought was slow as molasses. His name is what's his name? Uh, Something Aguilar, and he was just like really slow as molasses, and there was not really any reason why he should have been struggling as difficult as he was against him. I was very surprised of that he was struggling so much. So what happened was, I don't know, maybe Aguilar took a dive, but he kept on complaining about getting hit in the back of the head, and so he got hit in the back of the head one time, but then the second time he got skimmed in the back of the head, and I guess the shot landed on his shoulder. So he just started rolling around on the ground like something happened. I'm like, yo, like this dude rolling around on the ground like something happened with him, and he was just making it overly dramatic. And because he made it overly dramatic, um, he he just like pretty much forfeited the fight, and so they gave it to Frank Sanchez. But as I said, Frank Sanchez will really benefit from a change of trainer because I can even tell that the energy that his trainers have wasn't even really good energy for him. I mean, they really didn't provide him with what was needed to make the fight easier for him. They really didn't give him any good advice. So if I were him, I would, change trainers. I would go to Ishmael Salas, go where my people are. Me personally. Um, the second fight was against. It was Suleiman Sissoko, repping Senegal, and France, respectfully, versus this guy Caldwell, something Caldwell. And so in that fight, what I gotta say is that what was key in that fight was the stick. Suleiman Sissoko just threw that stick, threw that stick, threw that stick, and followed the stick up with twos and what have you, double jabs and things like that. Um, what I would like to have seen with Sissoko, due to his reach, would have liked to see him use that reach more to throw looping shots, to throw combinations too. But he didn't do that. That was the problem. Like, he didn't utilize that reach for a lot of things. He should have utilized the reach more for looping shots, combinations, and stuff like that. Um, he's the type to use distance deception as a defense versus head movement. Um, so what he would do is he would throw some jabs or throw some punches, and then he would take a step back. That's what he would do for his defense, and that played in his favor for most of the fight. But what happened was is that the guy Caldwell, whatever his name is, he landed a double uppercut which drops the Sissoko. I think that was in the ninth round. So that was the 10-8 round that went to Caldwell. But after that, it was pretty much smooth sailing for Sissoko. So, Sissoko being under Virgil Hunter, he comes from that fundamentally sound school of boxing where everything is set up behind the jab. But I would still like to see like maybe some shots from different angles, maybe using a more variety of shots. In that fight, he didn't even throw no hooks. He didn't throw no hooks to the body, and the body was there. The body was there for the taking. The Caldwell guy had a wide frame, so he didn't he didn't really throw anything to the body as I expected him to. But I mean, it is what it is. Kudos to him though. He won the fight. He won the fight. Now the second to the last fight was with Soto and this Japanese guy. I think it was for a flyweight belt. Now the thing is in those smaller weight classes, they definitely throw more punches. They definitely like to throw punches. They definitely like to let their hands go, and that's what you pretty much saw in this fight was the Japanese dude. I don't know his name. It starts with a T. Um, Throwing a lot of punches, and then the other guy, Soto, throwing punches too. So it's pretty much just like one of them rock 'em, sock 'em things. And in the ninth round, I guess the referee saw that Soto was hurt, or no, the Japanese guy was hurt, and so I guess he saw more than we saw, and he stopped the fight. So the fight was stopped, and the victory went to Soto. So kudos to Soto for that win. But now the main event. Now with the main event, what I will say is that I wasn't really personally looking forward to the fight. I wasn't really excited about the fight, and I really didn't care who won the fight. You know, um, the way I look at it is both got caught for peds. Number one, number two, both have ducked smoke, and number three, um, yeah, I was just not looking forward to the fight. But I'm just gonna give my take on the fight. Uh, I will give kudos to Billy Joe Saunders for putting up a fight more than uh, the usual opposition of Canelo does. And I will say that he had a couple of good moments in the fight. I will say that, you know, what he should have did, unfortunately, but didn't do, is he kept on flashing the jab out there. Yeah, that's good, but that's not going to win a fight if you just flash the jab out there. It was only in the middle of the fight where he decided to put something together, put a couple of punches and bunches together, put a couple of counters together. Um, Now, another thing that he did do though is, of course, he did use movement, did use lateral movement. He did have Canelo missing too. That's the thing. He did have him missing quite a bit. He was actually swinging for the fences. Now, granted, I'm gonna be real with you. Canelo came in like looking like a cruiserweight. He was huge. I was like, what the heck? This guy is huge. He easily rehydrated to like 175 or 180 or even 190. That's how big he was in that fight. And I'm like, golly, this guy is huge. So, um, what Billy Joe Saunders did, though, which I will give respect to, is he exposed Canelo as not really being that great of a boxer as people make him out to be. And what I mean by make him out great of a boxer, they make Canelo out to be a dude who can just like he's slick, move around, and just stuff like that. And when you have a guy who is a little bit up in levels, you're not going to see all of that. And I'm sorry to say, you didn't see that. You really didn't see that movement that he exhibits. You have to understand something. When Canelo fought um, Austin Trout was I guess you can say a B minus fighter, maybe a C fighter. So you could see that movement with him. When he fought Erislandy Lara, did you see all that head movement and stuff like that? No. When he fought Floyd Mayweather, did you see all that head movement and things like that and slipping punches? No. So when you have higher tiers of competition, you're not going to see all that razzle dazzle as people think he has. You're not going to see all that like that. And you really didn't see that in this fight a lot. What you did see is, of course, because he knew that maybe he needed to cut the ring off. Is you saw him trying to go for the gusto. You saw him trying to land power shots. You saw him not even trying to fight behind the jab. Honestly, he did not try to even use the jab in that fight. You know, he really like how in the fight where he was fighting Callum Smith, he really did not fight behind no combination. So, you know, to be honest, the whole night he was kind of looking for that uppercut, what I like to call the money shot. And I guess what happened was Billy Joe Saunders got his head out of position, and when he got his head out of position, he it was just food right then and there. You can tell he was hurt. You can tell he was buzzed. That uppercut landed right on the eye. And so once it landed right on the eye, it was a wrap. His eye was closed shut, and I think it was during the eighth round he quit on the stool. And so, I do give him a little bit of kudos for kind of holding it down in the middle of the fight. I do give him kudos for that. He was catching him with some stuff, um, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to hurt him. You know, because I mean, you haven't really known Billy Joe to be a big puncher, but um, I will give him kudos for putting up somewhat of a fight. I will give him kudos for having him miss Wild like he was missing against Erislandy Lara and like he was missing against Floyd Mayweather. So, I mean, what's next? I think pretty much, I'm pretty sure that Billy Joe Saunders will have a domestic fight in England, probably to get just back into the swing of things. And then he will probably have a fight in uh, then maybe a fight will get that fight in England or something like that will get him back into title contention. Um, but I give him kudos for putting up a little bit of an effort. You know, um, I guess I got to give Canelo his kudos for timing him and hitting him with the uppercut that he was trying to land the whole night. Uh, what's next for Canelo? Probably Caleb Plant, and I think the same thing is going to happen with Caleb Plant as well. You know, unless Caleb Plant gets some real man strength to keep Canelo off of him, because that's literally what Canelo was doing the whole night, was just stalking him, stalking him, stalking him. I mean, I'm gonna be real. Canelo can't really outbox anybody. I'm just gonna be real. Canelo cannot outbox a boxer. And what I mean by a boxer, I mean a guy who has the good footwork, who fights behind the jab, who fights behind that. Canelo's not gonna outbox him. He will outbox someone who comes forward like Triple G or something like that. But if it comes to a highly skilled boxer, he's not gonna outbox him. And I'll say it before and I'll say it again, Demetrius Andrade will F him up. You know, Demetrius Andrade is way faster than Billy Joe Saunders, and he throws punches and bunches more than Billy Joe Saunders, and he's longer than Billy Joe Saunders. And, I beg to say he's stronger and more in shape than Billy Joe Saunders, which is why the Demetrius Andrade and Canelo fight will never happen, unless there's a vacant title at 168 that Demetrius Andrade can go up and grab, and then try to make it happen. But yeah, Canelo will probably fight Caleb Plant next. He'll probably come over to the zone for that fight, and then that'll be that. And the same thing will happen, you know. But anyhow, man, it was cool, decent fight. I'm not a fan of either, but I was actually going for Billy Joe Saunders to win, because of the simple fact that boxing needs a change of guard, man. Like sometimes it happens, like when the boxing world has the changing of a guard, it's good for boxing. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's all I got, man. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. We'll be signing out. Enjoy, Rama.